The wearer plays a simple game while the headset flashes subliminal images of Osama bin Laden or the World Trade Centers. A normal person and a terrorist will have different results in the game they're playing.
It's the erection, right? The terrorist gets an erection.
Maybe that's it. I don't know how they would measure that.
I haven't done a rabbit hole the past couple of days. Got me terrified. Been watching videos about cave diving accidents. People going down, diving in caves, and getting like trapped in narrow passages and dying. Oh
God! I just watched a Netflix film like that where she goes through the one where she goes through all these pipes, some sort of torture scenario where she has to go through all these pipes and it gets more narrow and more narrow. And then there's like other people that are trying to kill her inside there.
Fucking claustrophobia is real,
Yikes.
man.
I mean, I don't even have it, but that was making me claustrophobic.
I do. There's one video in particular. There's a guy, and he dives down in this cave. It's like 300 feet of water that he goes down in this crazy cave system. And he goes down there to retrieve a body of somebody else that died like 10 years earlier. And like he ends up dying in there, and they were able to retrieve his body. He had a camera mounted on his head, so you get to watch the footage, like they played it, of him going down there, and then he like gets wrapped in this rope, and he's like trying to struggle his way out, and then like dies.
Did you watch The Curse of Oak Island? That seems like it'd be up your alley. You know what I'm talking about?
I cannot stand anything from the History Channel at all, but that was on when I was in jail, so I watched quite a bit of it.
Yeah, at one point they send divers down to this cave like hundreds of feet under the ground, and it's this tiny little passageway they have to go through in scuba gear. I mean, gosh, screw all that. They were getting paid like $600 an hour or something, but still, man.
I don't care.
It's like an 80% chance that you'll come back, so there's like a 20% chance of death.
and not just death. It's not like somebody shoots you in the back of the head or you have a heart attack and just fall over. Like, death in the most terrifying... You are in a claustrophobic situation and you're drowning, and it takes a while, and you know what's going on. It's just, yeah.
You would either slowly suffocate, or you would damage your gear, or you would just get stuck.
I carry a harpoon gun on my back and just shoot myself in the head with a harpoon.
There you go. Cyanide capsule.
Capsule.
Epstein yourself.
Yeah, Epstein myself. Have Hillary Clinton come in and choke me with a garrote wire.
Welcome to the show, folks. It is tax season, so all of the people complaining about paying taxes all year, prepare to get all the money back for the most part, unless you're rich like Tony, and you have to pay in.
Yeah, that's what I do.
What have you been up to, man?
Nothing much. Been taking it pretty easy the past few days. Actually, the past few weeks. Yeah, past few weeks. It's been crappy weather, so I can't do a whole lot. So I just kind of chill out inside and catch up on my YouTube.
Wait out the winter.
I'll be hitting ready for the next couple months. Next couple months. I'll start slowly working up again. Probably about April. I'll be hitting it pretty hard. So.
Okay, I don't know anything about this. You'll have to explain.
So yeah, just pull the video up.
Titled, A Urine Therapy Group in Colorado Touts the Benefits of Drinking Your Own Pee. Doctors Disagree.
Lifestyle. As you can see, this is my diet. I eat a lot of fruit. Papayas and mangoes and oranges and pears.
With one crucial drink that cannot be skipped.
You discover what this really is ultra-filtered blood plasma.
Or urine.
ASMR.
I know they get the sound of it.
2 hours ago. Good year. So when we take in this water, we honor it. Some people say a little prayer or something, just to acknowledge that something's about to shift in their body and in their mind.
Through urine therapy, Brother Sage will cleanse his eyes.
Open your eye, blink a couple times.
And rinse out his nose.
Not really rocket science.
Dr. James Wilk at UC Health says drinking pee could make you sick, especially drinking someone else's.
It's entirely possible to get chlamydia or gonorrhea of your mouth from drinking somebody's urine if they have those particular diseases. You don't know what kind of drugs are in their urine. That can pose some risks. And you don't know what kind of infections they have in there.
Brother Sage isn't alone. About once a week at the Boulder Public Library, the Urine Therapy
that's exactly
Group of
what the
Colorado
comments
will meet so members can talk about their experiences.
If you have stomachache, you drink that, it goes away.
We'd like to challenge, actually, the scientific community.
Those people who recognize it are not going to stop it. This is not a been there, done that therapy. It's the people who are called to it are with it the rest of their life.
An ancient.
This guy's on Facebook 100%.
Definitely. Brother Sage and the healing water within.
Oh, he's selling a book. He's selling a book, of course.
This is a fascinating new medical treatment that I found out about. This is people are tired of big pharma and
sure,
their control over the media and them telling us what kind of treatments we can or can't take. When just natural treatments are there for everyone. So my notes at.
This is like something we would have done back in the day to like try to pass a piss test, like some crazy shit. Like I don't even understand.
Well, if you go through and you read some of the comments about it, some of the people that they're advocating for it. So there's a Gracie Ramirez said that she just discovered it in September. Her pains all went away. It makes her want to eat more healthy. Amen to God and our golden life-changing elixir. This is the best instead of doctors and expensive medicines or medicines at all. Mark Sampson, it works. I've used it myself. Blew an upper respiratory infection out in 3 to 4 days when I normally needed antibiotics. It can also stop anaphylactic shock and will stop allergies. All of my friends that have tried it for their sinus allergies got great results. You're ignorant and not doing anyone any favors. The reason it's not well known and shunned is that it's so powerful it could destroy the medical industry. And I did some looking into this, and there are actually put this up.
I'm reading a comment right now where it says, with 68 thumbs ups, it says doctors lose their license if they recommend urine therapy because it's free medicine. This is a real thing, I think.
I don't know if it's because of the free medicine that they would lose their license. For
it's like a real thing.
It's a very real thing.
It's not just trolls.
It is not. So this is an old thing. This goes. I put that in the wrong spot. It's actually like referenced in the Bible. Proverbs 5:15 that you're supposed to drink water from your own cistern, flowing water from your own well. At least that's what they said. I don't think that that's actually what the passage meant. But I did go through and I found some actual scientific articles. This is from the NCBI NLM. It's an NIH article, and they were doing studies on mice and the tumor sizes in mice, and the the difference is statistically significant between the control group and the test group. And the test group was the one that was given the urine as opposed to saline. The tumor volumes were reduced significantly in the urine-treated group. This is a peer-reviewed paper. But my point behind all this, these are the same arguments that anti-vaxxers make. You can do these same things. You can find these different communities that really advocate for these kind of strange fringe medical treatments, and you can go through and you can find scientific articles that are going to support your case. You can do this with anything.
Well, the problem, from my understanding, this is a waste product. It's leaving your body. It's not something you would want to reintroduce. You've been, your body has evolved to excrete this substance.
Yeah, sure it is. But in the interest, you definitely don't want to do it. But if you do want to do it, by the way, there's a number of different methods. Generally, they say that you're supposed to drink it. You drink the first pee of the day, and you want to catch it midstream. So you don't want to get the first bit. You don't want to get the last bit. I was going to roll this into just talking about the Joe Rogan controversy, his misinformation around COVID.
Hold on a second here. Let me, for any commenters who are listening or watching this clip, what would be the mechanism of action? I guess I could look further into this. If there's a paper support, even one paper that's published supporting it, that means there's something there maybe, but I can't imagine what the mechanism of action would be. It just seems crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean,
any benefit, especially in cancer.
And it was, I believe in this case, it was applied topically to the tumors.
Well, that makes more sense, actually, than ingesting it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It was a haphazard segue into talking about the Rogan and the problem with platforming scientific misinformation. So we had a little bit of scientific misinformation about the urine therapy. Kind of funny.
This one?
Yeah.
Hello, friends. I wanted to make a video to address some of the controversy that's been going on over the past few days. And first of all, to say thank you to everyone that sent love and support. I truly, truly appreciate it. And it's been very nice to hear from you. I wanted to make this video, first of all, because I think there's a lot of people that have a distorted perception of what I do, maybe based on sound bites or based on headlines of articles that are disparaging. The podcast has been accused of spreading dangerous misinformation, specifically about 2 episodes, a little bit about some other ones, but specifically about 2. One with Dr. Peter McCullough and one with Dr. Robert Malone. Dr. Peter McCullough is a cardiologist, and he is the most published physician in his field in history. Dr. Robert Malone owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technology and is at least partially responsible for the creation of the technology that led to mRNA vaccines. Both these people are very highly credentialed, very intelligent, very accomplished people, and they have an opinion that's different from the mainstream narrative. I wanted to hear what their opinion is. I had them on, and because of that, those episodes in particular, those episodes were labeled as being dangerous.
I think most people have probably seen this. This is his a big apology video that he says he claims here that he wanted to set the record straight. Probably what happened to Spotify made him. I imagine they took the 2 episodes down. I believe.
As of the other day, they took down something like 70 episodes. No,
interesting.
As of right now, we don't know. I don't think anybody knows if it's just an accident. That a lot of these, because he also got in trouble for a video going around about him saying the N-word repeatedly.
Oh, way back in the day, the old one?
Yeah, way back in the day, not maliciously, just using
being edgy.
Yeah, being edgy.
90s edge.
Anyway, so just like urine therapy, you can find legitimate, or just like Rogan does with these anti-vaxxers, you can find legitimate doctors talking about urine therapy. That doesn't really mean anything. Joe said, well, we want to hear the other side or get someone else's opinion. I feel like there's nothing inherently wrong with exposing people to this sort of thing. I enjoy hearing about these off the beaten path ideas, whether it's vaccines, Graham Hancock and Robert Schoch's views about the origins of civilization in the Egyptian kingdom, or the unorthodox views held by a bunch of bored hippies in Colorado and their piss fetish. The issue with presenting the unorthodox is that they're not shown in their proper context. This is the same strategy employed by the creationists that wanted equal time and pushed schools to teach the controversy. The problem with equal time is that these are not equal ideas. They do not represent 2 sides of a scientific debate. You can have 99% of scientists on one side of an argument and a very vocal and very well funded, generally, 1% on the other side. And to the layperson, the subject can appear to be an honest area of scientific debate. But in actuality, this is no more than just fringe dissent that occurs around anything. And, so that's essentially what's going on. This is what's going on with Joe right now. He's finding just these dissenting opinions, and you can play this game with anything. And just because you have seemingly reputable people speaking out against the scientific mainstream, it doesn't really mean anything, because you can find this with any area of sciences, whether it be urine therapy, whether you find antibiotic doctors, you can find doctors that claim that cigarette smoking doesn't cause cancer. It's all out there, and you can make all the exact same arguments that you would make in favor of that the anti-vaxxers make in favor of all these other things. It just so happens that these things don't have the political and social momentum behind them that the anti-vax currently does.
Well, Rogan's been doing this for a while. The moon landing stuff was silly, and he kind of backed off of that, but he had Bob Lazar on and made like a huge deal out of it. It's one of his most popular episodes, and he's basically a snake oil salesman, right?
I mean, yes, I think he's full of, yeah, I guess so. I think he's full of crap. I listened to that one. It was good. I love listening to those guys. And that's kind of the I guess,
sure,
a little bit of a problem I find myself in, because I love listening to these guys that completely disagree with the scientific mainstream. Oftentimes, just because I like hearing about it. I don't give it any credence. I love listening to primatologists talk about Bigfoot. Now, I know that there's no Bigfoot, but I eat that shit up every time it comes on. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is like there's a really fine line, and especially when there's no. I don't know where the line is.
When you're promoting Bigfoot, there's no death toll involved, right?
That's the issue. Yeah, like we've got a medical emergency going on right now. We've got a worldwide pandemic. I don't know what responsibility Joe has towards, fairly and accurately disseminating the information or giving his listeners an accurate view of that the information he's putting out there is not really scientifically accredited. It's not really given any weight in the scientific community.
Well, the point you made about the percentages is a good one. It's the same thing that Fox News claims. They say, "Oh, we're just presenting the other side of the argument." It's like, well, no, not really. You're making shit up. You're not representing the vast consensus in general when it comes to issues like climate change or anything like that.
Or you see it all the time with economists. You get some Chicago's Austrian economists to come on there and say that austerity and country X is the way to get them out of the funk that they're in. And no one buys that. It says, the same thing here in the U.S. Well, we need to help poor people by cutting food stamps. It's just not a representative thing, Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, economics is a science just like anything else. Maybe not quite as hard as many of the others, but
definitely not.
Definitely not. But point being,
yeah. But the issue is he's doing this appeal to authority. Like, these guys are legitimate scientists. They have all these patents. Sure, Sherry Tenpenny's a scientist too. That doesn't mean she's credible. She's been discredited. So is Robert Malone. I had some information about Robert Malone here. I don't know much about these guys. I just briefly looked into him here, but there's this article in the Atlantic, quoting from the article here. The abridged version is that when Malone was a graduate student in biology in the late 1980s at the Salk Institute for Biological Studies, he injected genetic material, DNA and RNA, into the cells of mice in hopes of creating a new kind of vaccine. He was the first author on an 1989 paper demonstrating how RNA could be delivered into cells using lipids, which is how we deliver everything. Everything we deliver into the nucleus of a cell now is with these, lipids. The phospholipid things they do. I don't know what they call them. Tiny globules of fat. And he was a co-author in a 1990 science paper showing that if you inject pure RNA or DNA into mouse muscle cells, it can lead to the transcription of new proteins, which is pretty basic science. It's not like he was directly involved in the production of the COVID vaccine. This is very basic research back in the day, basically. He was just showing that if you can inject mRNA into the nucleus of a cell and cause transcription, which now was taken for granted, And
yeah,
here is a... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, this is just, kind of, I guess, basic research that any scientist could be involved in at some point in time in their life. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could mean something, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
This was the very early days of like DNA tech, like knowledge about DNA in general. Here is a TikTok of Robert Malone, the great scientist.
Be posting the text of this statement so that you can share it with your friends and family. Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Before you inject your child, a decision that is irreversible, I wanted to let you know the scientific facts about this genetic vaccine, which is based on the RNA vaccine technology I created. There are three main issues that parents need to understand before they take this irrevocable decision. The first is that a viral gene will be injected into your parent's cells.
Irrevocable.
This gene forces your child's body to make toxic spike proteins. These proteins often cause permanent damage in children's critical organs. These organs include their brain and nervous system, their heart and blood vessels, including blood clots, their reproductive system, and most importantly, this vaccine can trigger fundamental changes to their immune system.
Yeah, everything he said there is extremely distorted. First of all, he lies explicitly when he says often. These are extremely rare side effects. For one. For two, obviously, the spike protein is toxic. That's why the virus is a killer, man.
Yeah.
Not hard to understand. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was listening to that immediately. I thought of Carl Sagan.
Try to convince yourself that God created the whole universe.
Talking about the humility of the science, the humility of the sciences, and the humility of being a scientist and realizing you're just one very small piece in a giant network that produces these scientific advancements. And then when you like repeatedly refer to yourself as the founder and the discoverer of this and that, when nobody else recognizes you as that, it just throws red flags. Like just on a personal level, stuff like that kind of throws red flags for me.
The ominous, like, before you inject your children with this vaccine.
Irreversible vaccine.
Before you ruin your child's life forever.
Irrevocable consequences.
You made the analogy to the tobacco industry, which I think is perfect because, like we were saying, the Bigfoot stuff's not dangerous, but this stuff actually has bodies associated with it. And tobacco is obviously a huge killer. This is a bit of a throwback here.
I don't believe that nicotine or our products are addictive.
I believe nicotine is not addictive.
I believe that nicotine is not addictive. I believe that nicotine is not addictive.
And I too believe that nicotine is not addictive.
Anyhow.
Yeah, I mean it's a game as old as time. And when you have a scientifically illiterate society, you can pull these games on people where you have kind of charismatic spokespersons come out. They do this on both sides. I mean, this is what Fauci was. I guess he was supposed to be a charismatic spokesperson for the scientific community, the actual scientific community. And I don't know. I think this all just this should I think push society towards teaching more scientific literacy to our citizens, so that we know how science works. We know that you can play these games with cherry picking studies, and that there's always going to be dissent, and there's always going to be what seem like really convincing and arguments that will run opposite to the scientific consensus. And we as just citizens of the world, you have to be able to learn how to kind of navigate that path as best you can. It's not easy because it has its own lexicon and the way these I'm sure you've tried to read scientific articles before. They are not made for the layman to be able to understand very well. But it's important. It's important, and stuff like this. When there's a global pandemic and there's a strong misinformation campaign that's out there in the zeitgeist, lives are being lost because of it. And if more people knew how to kind of parse scientific literature, or just how to find, I guess, a reputable representative of the community to listen to, then I think we would certainly be a lot better off as a human race.
Sure. Just what's the solution though? Like, it seems like the pendulum has swung so far the other direction since like the 80s. Like, back in 70s and 80s, it was all science and facts, and for some reason the media has went. I don't know what the solution is though. Like, the media has really swung the other direction. It's like facts don't even matter anymore.
I'm not here to present
people are
the solution.
too busy to read scientific papers.
I'm saying somebody should find the solution, and you all figure that out. So.
Well, my question is the solution censoring this shit? Quote unquote censoring. I mean, I don't consider it censorship because it's literal misinformation, but is there any solution besides that?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's, there's no easy answer. Obviously, each case is going to be different. Jon Stewart made a video this past week, kind of talking about this whole thing, this controversy, and he was just saying, yeah. I mean, really, what you do in this situation is you push back and you come out and you present the correct science and you make it available to people and try to get it out to as many people as you can, explain it in the best way as you can, and it doesn't always work. In particular, it seems like conservatives, well, I guess the conservatives in particular have already kind of preempted any push that someone like myself is advocating for, which is teach a better understanding or teach better scientific literacy in schools, by kind of ingraining this distrust in the scientific community. This they were doing with climate change, for example, is a perfect one.
Right.
Creationism. Creationism. It's just kind of so ingrained now that, well, you can have your view and I can have my view, and we'll just kind of give it equal time. We'll agree to disagree, and it's all about opinion. Well, this is my opinion, that's your opinion, and science doesn't care about opinions at all. I mean, how do you tell somebody that is of the opinion that their opinion matters that it doesn't matter? Just sterilization.
Sterilize it.
Yeah. Put it on record.
Here's
advocating
a somewhat more ambiguous police shooting from the other day. This was a couple days ago. Let's just play it here.
Oh, this is up in Wisconsin.
That was the slow-mo version. And they'll play the full speed one here in a sec.
Please stand for it! Please stand for it! Please stand for it!
Now, I'm interested what your take is on this. This seems completely unjustified to me. He had a gun. I'm sure you've seen this, but he has a gun here.
Yeah.
But he clearly is not aiming the gun at an officer or anything like that. He just has a gun because these cops bust in the door unannounced. They have a no-knock warrant, and the judge in the Derek Chauvin trial is the one who signed the warrant.
Oh, really?
Judge Peter Cahill.
I don't know what they expected to happen. We're a country that has as many guns as we have. We have more guns than we have citizens. And you come in somebody's house like that in the middle of the night and you don't expect somebody to pick up a gun. I mean, it takes me 30, 45 minutes before my brain works correctly after I wake up, and that's waking up in the morning, not in the middle of the night. People screaming and flashlights going off and sound like was there a dog barking in the background? I mean, it's utter chaos. And the fact that the cops keep putting themselves in these situations where things are going to be chaotic, it's the wrong approach. And this is going to continue happening in this situation. And this is exactly what happened with Breonna Taylor. He had a no-knock warrant.
Very similar.
It's similar. I mean, yeah, well, with the boyfriend and the Taylor, he had a gun and shot towards the cops, right? Which is what anyone would do if someone broke in their house in the middle of the night screaming and you've seen flashlights and all that crap. There's no way to verify it's the cops, and it's very likely that they wouldn't know it was or didn't hear them correctly or the whole idea of these like nighttime no-knock warrants, it's just, I don't know what the purpose of it is. I guess to catch them off guard. It seems there's better ways to do this.
Because supposedly
There's
they're
better
dangerous and they could harm someone in the apartment is the thinking, but I mean, it's stupid logic.
Yeah, I think it's just, okay, well.
Like every no-knock warrant subject is like a serial killer, like Ted Bundy or something. You know what I mean? It's it's just dumb logic.
In a case where it's a homicide, like you at least got a little bit of a leg to stand on if it's a homicide case. Of course, most no-knock warrants are not homicide cases. They're like drug cases and other,
Most homicides are like crimes of passion against, you know what I mean?
A certain person. Yeah, you don't have like serial killers out there.
That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I really don't know what to say about it. I mean, it seems it's a system that's just in need of reform. I don't know. It feels like these are military tactics that people are bringing back from, Iraq and Afghanistan, and it's just another symptom of the militarization of our police in this society. We give them military weapons, military outfit, military vehicles, military tactics, and this military mindset that they're waging a war and they're going out there getting the terrorists. And that's not what it is. You're policing the community. You're supposed to be bringing peace and security and stability, and serving warrants when you have to, but you want to minimize the amount of violence. Whereas these no-knock. This is like a military tactic. This is what you do in downtown Fallujah when you're going after some insurgent leader. You're busting his house in the middle of the night. But you don't care. You don't care in that situation. You have to care in this situation, and that's the fucking difference.
I think there's definitely some truth to that. It's also a result of just police policy. There was a story about a week ago of an officer who was fighting his firing. He was fired because he tried to prevent some other officers from shooting this armed suspect who was, he had been talking down, basically. This gentleman had a gun. He wasn't dangerous in the cop's estimation. This cop was very experienced and trained in de-escalation. But according to police policy, if the suspect is armed, you are required to shoot to kill this person because they could be a threat to your partner. This is their philosophy, that if there's any threat whatsoever, you escalate to lethal force immediately or you get fired. And that's how they train their officers. It's stupid. It's just, It needs reform, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why people hate cops. All you pigs out there listening, this is why people fucking hate you.
Quit being pussy.
You have brought this adversarial relationship to a head. You're all the ones it's us or them. No, you're supposed to be us. We're supposed to be you. And you're putting the divide out there. You're deepening that gulf between people like myself and the police force, where it is adversarial. It's feeling more and more like Iraq or Afghanistan.
Well, I just want to do something a little light this week. That's all.
Okay.
No difference in the amount of preparation time, actually, but
as we finish up the cops killing some dude in his house while he's sleeping.
He had a gun, but he wasn't pointing the gun at anybody. He was sleeping. No-knock warrant, they just bust in. He probably thought he was getting robbed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, the situation where they're in there, the guy's got a gun. Yeah, I guess, you don't know what he's going to do, but it's... don't put yourself in that situation.
Wait till he points it at you, at least. You know what I mean? What are you scared of, dude? God. Bunch of babies.
Did he have it in his hand, or was it like sitting on a coffee table? I didn't see it, honestly.
You didn't see it? Oh, you didn't see the clip? Here, I'll show it.
I seen the clip. I just didn't see the gun. I seen a dude in a blanket.
That's kind of hard to spot.
Yeah, he looked like he threw the blanket over because he's probably freaking out about people breaking into his house.
What the? It's the same shit you would have done. You would have got blown away too.
Except I would have blown him all away. Been like Doc Holliday.
I'm your huckleberry.
Doc Holliday. Where he kills like 5 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your huckleberry. Oh, right there.
See it here.
Is that him reaching for it on the?
No, he's holding it in his hand. You can see it. The flashlight hits it perfectly. Did you see it there?
Okay, yeah.
119. See it?
Yeah, the dude's scared shitless. He's wrapped
it's
up
pointed
in a blanket.
down. Yeah, he can't even see.
Yeah. He's wrapped in a blanket. He's grabbing the gun because he's scared shitless.
Yeah.
Because people are breaking into his house in the middle of the night, screaming and pointing flashlights around.
Yeah, you're right. With the flashlights, he can't even see what's going on. He's just got a flashlight in his face.
He just hears people yelling, hears a lot of noise and banging, and a flashlight in his face. It's exactly... Anyone would do that. Anyone that owns a gun would do that in that situation.
Yep. Especially in certain neighborhoods, man. Rough neighborhoods. And it is legal. You are allowed to have a gun in this country. Sorry, guys. You enforce the law, right? You can't just murder people for having a gun. They're allowed to have guns.
Well, statistically, he was a young black man, which I think 18 to 35. If you're a black man, you've got like a 40% chance of being in the penal system at some point. What is it? There was an interesting number on that, like the number of black males between like 18 and 35 that were essentially felons or facing felony charges was really high. So he may not have been able to have a gun.
When we covered this topic, it was like 10 years into the drug war, and it was something like 7% of all black men were incarcerated currently. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in nootropics, check out my website, MetamaxPerformance.com. We have 10% off for winter sale still going on, so check it out. Get your nootropics while you can. MetamaxPerformance.com.
Gentle listeners, Shire Hemp Farms is your #1 source for CBD and Delta 8 products. Check us out now for wholesale pricing on Delta 8 carts. We have some new Delta 8 in with new American-made carts. Always the lowest price. Check us out. Support local Kentucky farms, local Kentucky businesses. ShireHempFarms.com.
Some of that silky smooth voice.
I was trying to do the NPR.
This is Stalin's Views or Fake News. Tony, get ready. You ready to play?
Uh-oh. I'm ready.
All right, I have 5 facts about the Soviets.
Hang on. Do they have the same haircut?
Dum, dum, dum. You figured it out.
Rachel Maddow, Joseph Stalin.
They're basically the same. Yeah.
They are basically the same.
All right, I have 5 facts here about the former Soviet Union. And you have to determine whether or not these truly happened. Are these facts or fake news?
Uh-oh.
All right, first up. The Soviet Union liked to attach jet engines to things.
Okay.
In the 60s, they attached jet engines and wings to a speedboat and put missile launchers on the front of it because why the hell not? This is the missile launching speedboat from Fortnite. not related, but funny.
Yeah. Well,
is this fake news or Stalin's views?
Well, so I'm thinking of somebody like Rachel Maddow and the fake news that she spouts. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to say I don't think like the liberal fake news types have that cool of ideas even, because this sounds awesome. Frankly, like that would, if I had the means to put a jet on a speedboat, I would definitely do it. No question about that.
Of course, who wouldn't?
I also think that I happen to think a lot like Stalin, or at least I would be him as far as taking power at the Occupy movements, but that's a separate point. And he is the man of steel, which means he's a badass. And he's out there kicking ass and taking names, and he's kind of got a little bit of the American spirit. And if attaching a jet to a speedboat isn't the American spirit, which is what Stalin was all about after all, I don't know what it is. So I'm thinking that was actually that they were actually doing that in the Soviet Union.
You got it. That is Stalin's views.
Stalin's views.
They had some crazy tech, man. This particular vehicle was called the Ekranoplane. Ekranoplane, pronounced Ekranoplane, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think my logic was exactly sound on that, but I wound up at the right answer anyway. So that's all.
You don't need logic for Stalin didn't use logic. So this vehicle had short wings and used a phenomenon called ground effects to hover 10 to 20 feet above the surface of the water.
Huh.
In perfect conditions, it could reach speeds of up to 350 miles per hour.
So it was like just a transport vessel over bodies of water then.
It was a speedboat, but it hovered above the water to make it more, less resistance and whatnot. And see the missile launchers on the front of it? That's just to make it badass, of course. They did build a few of these, and they were operational for a short period of time. There's still some on display in the museum there. Very cool.
Yeah, so it's almost like a hovercraft.
Or like a shitty plane.
Like a shitty plane. Huh.
They did all sorts of these cool tech inventions. They also like to attach nuclear reactors to things. There was this vehicle called the Mole, which never really saw much action because it was, well, we'll get into that. But this was it, the Combat Mole. It operated using nuclear power and was 35 meters long. It could travel at a maximum speed of 7 kilometers per hour, and it went underground to attack like underground bunkers, like Hitler had. It could carry 5 crew members and up to 15 soldiers.
35 meters long. That's like 110, 120 foot. Damn, that's big. That's really big.
It traveled 4.3 miles per hour, basically, so much faster than Elon Musk's shitty boring machine.
Take that, Elon.
Unfortunately, it exploded during one of the tests, killing everybody inside, and probably not a good idea having nuclear-powered, like, boring things going into rock, granite, at like 4 miles an hour.
Yeah, it just...
But like the same sort of... They had this... Check this out. They have these tanks with, like, screw treads to go through the swamp and mud and shit.
I've seen stuff like that before. Yeah, that is pretty badass.
That's super cool, man. And they actually have, here's one in action that they still use. They still use these in some parts of Russia, I guess, Siberian places. This is like a miniaturized one. Oh, this is to recover cosmonauts coming back, it says.
I guess they haven't landed in like, what is it, the shitty parts of Kazakhstan?
That's, is Kazakhstan swampy and muddy? I don't know.
That's where Borat's from. That's all I know about it.
All right, ready for number 2 here. A project was launched to train beluga whales and bottlenose dolphins as Red Army soldiers. They were outfitted with harpoons to attack enemy divers. Let me share the thing.
Something to visually represent that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is this fake news or Stalin's views? Red Army soldier dolphins.
Well, see, this does seem like something that I'm having Rachel, I probably shouldn't do this because this is a little bit before her time, but I'm just thinking of Rachel Maddow as the embodiment of fake news because she was the embodiment for this segment. She's a liberal, which, they're the worst. Ugh. Liberals care about animals because they're pussies. And they would probably think that something like this would be awful. And this would be their idea, because they're wanting to demonize the Soviet Union. This would be their idea of something that would get those other pussy-ass New York liberals upset at the animal-hating communist over there. So they talk about all these cute little animals that were being tortured and made to go out and fight and kill people and all sorts of awful stuff. On the other hand, there's a story about Joseph Stalin when he was a young kid swimming out to an island to rescue a baby calf that had gotten trapped when it was, I guess this river had flooded and this baby calf got trapped on this little island. He swam out there rescued it, brought it back to shore, and broke its legs in front of his friends just to show him that he could. So I could also see it being a Soviet thing. Yeah, it's a true story. I don't know if it's a true story, but it's friends of his after he died that knew him when he was younger, before he was, Joseph Stalin, told this story about him. So I am going to say that this actually is something that the Soviets were doing, because they were always trying to figure out a way to mess with the Yankees, and those Yankee divers were probably just screwing up their nuclear subs and their nuclear powered jet boats, and they got they have to find some way to fight back at them, all the frogmen.
Of course, this is real. This is well known. This is Stalin's views. In 2018, Ukraine's ambassador to Crimea claimed rather generously that the combat dolphins stationed at Crimea had gone on hunger strike to protest their new Russian captors and had all died. This was a thing. The Russians trained them. They trained some with spears, and there were some others that were kamikazes to blow up boats. Here is this cute beluga whale that he escaped Russia fairly recently. This is 2020. He escaped Russia and he wound up in Norway, and he stole everyone's hearts at the harbor there.
Safe from harm.
When he showed up, he had this harness on him, and it said like "property of Russia," and it had like telephone numbers on it and shit. So he got out. This happens fairly often. These animals escape.
Or so I thought. What I documented that first week was troubling. His arrival.
Yeah, and are we sure that they're not moles?
Living in a busy harbor.
They're playing the long con, going
there
there
was
being
an article,
cute, getting people to pet them, gaining everyone's trust, and in 10 years, they initiate the plan.
The U.S. has these too. They have trained to locate mines and divers and things. Fairly intelligent animals, basically the same intelligence as like an elephant, supposedly.
Yeah. Yeah, see, locating mines and underwater stuff, underwater obstacles is a lot less nefarious. Like, I'm okay with that, but getting a dolphin to go out there and kill people, that's just kind of, it's something only the Soviets could do.
Yeah, I'm not sure how effective it would be with a spear on it. I don't know, man. They're pretty aggressive. Did you watch the video? There was a video today of a school of orcas killing a blue whale. First time caught on film.
They rip its tongue off.
I didn't see it. I didn't see that, but I didn't watch the end.
That was They like all get around it, and I guess the blue whale, it's dying, and it opens up its mouth at one point. And you see the orca goes in, grabs its tongue. And there's just
I missed that part.
Blood goes everywhere. It just starts spewing out. It's ridiculous how much blood come out of it.
That's a big animal to take down, man.
Yeah, I guess this is like a new thing or they just documented it. This is that they prey on blue whales. I think that's what it was.
Well, this beluga whale's name is Valdemir. He escaped Russia and is now trying to become a Norway citizen. This leads me to believe that Valdemir is most likely a union activist escaping persecution and should be granted amnesty because Russia, much like the Soviet Union, is inhospitable to independent labor unions. So grant Valdemir citizenship, please. At least amnesty. Give this guy a home.
Give him a job at Starbucks, and he can help organize their union.
Put him down at Bessemer.
Yeah.
Next up, number 3, the Global Rocket, or GR-1 as it was called, was a rocket designed to blast into low Earth orbit, where it would circle the Earth at high speed until its warhead would re-enter at a target in a non-predictable way. The rocket was meant to circumvent American missile defense systems. Is this Stalin's views or fake news? The Global Rocket.
Global Rocket. I could see the Boeing and Lockheed Martin going to CNN in this one. We'll leave Rachel out of this. Go to CNN and say, hey, look, we haven't been getting as many billions of dollars in subsidies as we want. I want to buy me another yacht. So I want you to get on there and talk about how the Soviets are building this rocket. I don't know, yada, yada, whatever. And get everybody scared so that we get another $50 billion grant to build some anti-Soviet rockets. It could be fake news. That could have been what happened. I'm sure that does happen every day, incidentally. On the other hand, got to get past them U.S. defenses, and there's nothing Stalin loved more than trying to sneak his way in between all of our defenses and come up with the craziest weapons he could. I'm going to say I think this might be 3 in a row that this is another Stalin's views.
Unfortunately, you're not correct, sir. Not this time. This is fake news.
Oh, man.
Let me play the clip here. Okay, this is a May Day parade in 1967. This is fake news. They had claimed to have this weapon, whereas they had only started the design of it, and it never came to fruition. But, you know, what Stalin would do is he would have these parades with all these fake missiles, and he would claim that this was the missile. This was the global rocket. Khrushchev claimed it was completed. Oh, this was under Khrushchev. In reality, it had barely begun the planning process and would later be scrapped. So, yeah, they did this regularly with these fake missiles.
I was going to say, that sounds like what I do. Talk about like this state-of-the-art laboratory I'm making. And like, I guess I technically am. I drew a picture of it. And I plan on doing it at some point. So I'm just going to go ahead and claim it. And I guess that's what, once again, me and Stalin a lot alike.
The GR1 project, was replaced by the R-36 project. This was an orbital missile which could hold up to 10 separate warheads, each of which could obliterate an entire city. So they didn't do the GR1 global rocket deal, but they did an even more destructive and horrible globe-circling 10-warhead rocket that would it would orbit the Earth and then break up into 10 pieces, and then each one would be a nuclear bomb that would land in American City. Crazy shit. I'm sure we had just as crazy shit that was never been declassified, I imagine.
For sure.
All right. That was fake news. What about the next one? Number 4 on the list. Due to heavy Russian interest in nuclear isomer technology, a top-secret substance known as red mercury was developed, allowing fission bomb technology to be substantially smaller in size with the same explosive yield. This is a website selling this particular product.
Pure red liquid mercury. Pure red liquid mercury. Huh.
Miniaturized nuclear warheads with this substance.
So, I want to flex my scientific knowledge for everybody out there right now. When I was a kid living out in Breckenridge County, out in the woods, I had a neighbor. He was a couple of years older than me, but I would play with him. I was like 6 years old at the time. And he had collected a bunch of old thermometers and broke them open. And he had a little pill bottle full of liquid mercury. And he would bring it up to me, and he would pour it in my hands, and I would play with it, and I'd give it back to him. And
this explains so much.
Yeah. I told my dad about playing with liquid mercury, and he said, go over to the water hose and wash your hands off. And so
that's how it works.
I went to the water hose and I washed my hands off. He said, don't do that again. As far as I can remember, that mercury was not red. It was a silvery gray. Sure. And I know that mercury is a basic element. And I don't know how you would have 99%. Well, maybe I was going to say, how could you have pure mercury with a different color to it? I mean, I don't know. This seems like something made up to scare people. Something fake news. Maybe the red, because it's special mercury, but it's also red, as in it's Red Scare. It's the Reds and their mercury, and they figured something out. So, the Soviets were nothing if they were not scientists and dedicated to advancing scientific understanding. And this reeks to me of science fiction, not science fact. So I'm going to call this fake news.
Yes, this is fake news. It was rumored for many, many decades. Originally, it wasn't even colored red. It was red because it was from Russia or from the USSR. Eventually, over time, it morphed into this red substance. There are some compounds of mercury that are red naturally, but this particular substance has never been proven to exist. In 2004, several men were arrested in the UK for attempting to buy £1 million worth of red mercury. The IAEA made a statement saying that red mercury is a load of, quote, malarkey. So this has been peddled sort of like snake oil wise online for a long time. People buy it thinking that this is a real thing because it was mentioned in Pravda, the Soviet newspaper, and mentioned a few other places.
This reminds me of the people that try to buy Red Rock opium. And it's just shitty heroin is all they're buying. It's not opium. There's no Red Rock opium.
There is speculation that red mercury could be a code name for the American secret substance known as fog bank. Fog bank is rumored to be an aerogel material used to carry over the initial fusion stage of the nuclear blast into nuclear fission. This has been acknowledged to exist by the U.S., but it's not. It's highly classified, and we don't know anything about it. But on a separate note, these aerogels are cool, man. Have you seen these things?
I have not. Don't think I have.
Look at this stuff.
Huh.
It's like they take gel and they get all the moisture out of it using alcohol and stuff. And if they do it just right, it makes it super light. If you take all the air out of the porous space in the aerogel, it would be less dense than air. It would float in air. Pretty crazy.
Really?
And it's fairly strong for what it is. But it's very. They use it on the Mars rover and stuff because of it's so temperature. It's.
Oh, like insulation, I guess.
Insulatory, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Huh.
Very cool. Very cool stuff. I like to get hold of
science. Science is amazing.
It is. If only we could convince the Republicans.
Yeah.
Number 5. Last one.
All right. Last
one. U.S. companies have copied Russian mind control technology to be used in airports to spot terrorists. Is this Stalin's views or fake news?
Huh. Well, I want to say in X-Men, one of the psychic mutants was Russian. I'm trying to remember who it was. So I know there's that connection, for example.
Sure. Logical.
I've also seen the documentary with George Clooney, The Men Who Stare at Ghosts. Did you ever see that?
I have not. Is it good?
Okay. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's about the PSYOPs program, kind of during this period, the Cold War period. And it seemed very credible to me that they were able to kill a goat by staring at it, that they were able to run through walls. And I know a lot of these techniques were developed in Russia.
I'm writing that down because I love docs.
Yeah, and I don't know. On the other hand, I feel like this is all bullshit, so I'm going to say fake news.
Well, unfortunately, Tony, this is true. This is a true story.
Oh, shit.
So the way this works is the wearer plays a simple game with a headset on. And here, let me put a picture of the headset up here. There's a Wired article about it here. Here's the actual headset.
Oh, no.
The wearer plays a simple game while the headset flashes subliminal images of Osama bin Laden or the World Trade Centers. A normal person and a terrorist will have different results in the game they're playing.
It's the erection, right? The terrorist gets an erection.
Maybe that's it. I don't know how they would measure that. Yes. Quoting from the article here, this goes back to Soviet technology that they were working on back in the 80s, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this is a long project of theirs they've been working on. It's like a whole field of science to them. So this has been, I'm quoting from the Wired article on this here, marketed in North America as SSRM Tech. The technology will soon be tested for airport screening by a U.S. company under contract to the Department of Homeland Security. Russell Kina markets the technology as a program called MindReader 2.0. To sell MindReader to the West, she's teamed up with a Canadian firm which is now working with a U.S. defense contractor called SRS Technologies. This May, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, announced plans to award a sole source contract to conduct the first U.S. government-sponsored testing of SSRM tech. So,
hang on. I got a follow-up question. Is Elon Musk the one behind this? This sounds like another bullshit scientific breakthrough that he's trying to sell to the taxpayers.
There's a lot of Elon Musks out there.
I guess so. Yeah, this is exactly what this sounds like. Some nonsense technology that doesn't work that we're going to sell to the Department of Homeland Security to do something that patting people down does just as well.
Well, I think they're going to pat the people down, but like if they're on the no-fly list or whatever, they can use this to sort of check in their inner thoughts, subliminal response.
Or they're on a no-fly list, so you just tell them to turn around.
It seems like this is just lie detector technology, isn't it? Isn't this the same as like the lie detector?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, which is bullshit. Like, people have different reactions to different things, and you can't really...
Well, the lie detector works, though. Mostly.
Well, I mean, it mostly, yeah.
Unless you take like a
what, like 70% or something like that?
Well, you can trick it, supposedly. Reliable. Yeah.
No, I failed. So I took one when I was 15 and failed it.
Really?
Over something that I did not do.
Interesting.
Yeah, I failed it with, there was two of the questions I failed. I was lying with, because, I got the results of it. I was lying with 99% certainty. And I was telling the truth. Like,
and then you were executed the next day.
Well, luckily I ended up not having to, they found out who did it, and so the charges against me were dropped. It was over burglarizing a house. Actually, our friend Justin's house. It was his house, and they found out who did it. What it was, I was just a nervous kid.
Sure, yeah,
and,
15-year-old
scared
kid.
the shit out of me, and like I threw all the red flags for lying when I was just scared.
Yeah, this is definitely questionable tech. Questionable. Stay out of my thoughts, government.
Get away.
Well, you did pretty good, Tony. You got like 4 out of 5, man.
I got 3 out of 5. I was wrong about that one. I was wrong about this
3
one,
out of
right?
5, yeah. Well, the global rocket was sort of a trick question because they came out with an even better rocket shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got this week, man.
All right, cool. It's good talking to you again, and I will see you next week.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Peace.
Later.